Hi, Facebook. Hello, everybody. It is that time for the top 10 at 10. I am Nikedra, the nurse practitioner that comes to you for our top 10 at 10 Monday through Friday for tips and ways to get and stay healthy for not only your life but for your health. And so it is that time. So as you come on in true fashion, make sure you introduce yourself and you welcome yourself to the broadcast because I love to say hello. And if you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay is what you need to do. So again, I can make sure to shout you out in the broadcast. So it's Tuesday. What's going well for all of you? Hopefully it has been a great day and that your week is off to a pleasant start. And again, as I wait for some of you all to come on in, I just want to say congratulations to Ty Kima. So Ty Kima Patterson won the Share Award for last week. We did that drawing on last night. So congratulations, Ty. I do have that prize for you. And if you want to be entered in the share prize for this week, you know what you need to do. You need to press that share button and share this video out so that it hits your timeline and so that people are able to get the information. I see Delana is in the room tonight. Hello, Delana. Thanks for tuning in. So again, congratulations to Ty Kima Patterson for being our share winner for last week. We're going to do that again on Friday. So you get an opportunity to enter to win for this week. Every top 10 at 10, you get 24 hours to share out that video to your timeline to make sure we are sending the information out where it needs to go. So before you all hopped in, I just said hello and welcome to the broadcast. And if you have anything you need to shout yourself out on, what went well today for you in your world of health and wellness? Let me shout myself out because I actually drank my required amount of water today. Woohoo! That's a struggle for me every day, y'all, to get that water in because I'm so super busy and I don't always take the time to drink water. So that's my shout out for myself for today. If you have any personal shout outs, go ahead and put them in the comments because we know that no small effort goes unnoticed. So while you're doing that, also make sure that you know we have a call out for Zing ambassadors. So what a Zing ambassador is, it's that people who are passionate about our mission, about teaching and training people as it relates to our health and in particular minority populations. And so those people who would like to be Zing ambassadors, you have an affinity with what we are, who we are, what we do, and you want to make sure that we're moving in the right direction and you want to move with us. So we have a call out for Zing ambassadors. Our first meeting is on Thursday. If that's something you're at least interested in, bit.ly/Zing brand I am. It's going to be a super exciting group. Just a chance to make sure that we are doing our due diligence by getting our community educated and trained. And so we want to make sure that we get those people who want to go along with us to come. All right. So that's bit.ly/Zing brand I am. Now we're going to talk about AEDs on tonight. So it is National CPR and AED Awareness Week. So if you did not have opportunity, after we finish this, you should watch last night's replay because we did have a very good conversation about CPR, what that means, and why people should actually get CPR. So before we get too far, don't let me forget, we need to say our mission because we like to make sure that you understand what our mission is, why we come every night for the top 10 at 10, who we serve, and what we do. And so our mission is to improve the quality of life within the community. We focus on basic life skills, health promotion and wellness, and self-esteem development. We provide resources toward removing barriers and inequalities to fulfill personal achievement. So that is who we are, and that's why we do the things that we do. So that is our mission. So National CPR and AED Awareness Week. So if you are here, let me know what your CPR status is. Are you trained? Do you want to be trained? Was it so long ago you can't even remember? Is it expired? Go ahead and let me know what your CPR status is because we are putting it all on the table this week in honor of CPR Week. Now, we actually have CPR as one of our signature projects and programs. So we facilitate CPR classes all year long, but in recognition for the true week, we are giving you what you need as it relates to CPR, so you can understand fully what it is, why people should have it, and what the importance of CPR is. Now, we have a download for you if you're that person who says, hey, I don't know if I really need CPR. How do people around me know that they need CPR? There is a download at bit.ly/I need CPR. Okay? So that's where you can find that download to figure out if you fit those categories of people who need CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So that's the things that we've talked about: childcare providers, healthcare providers, firemen, all types of people, school educators, all types of people need CPR. And if you don't know if you fit in that category, if you've never been trained, that's a call to action for you to get that download to see if you fit the categories on that list. And if your training is expired, you know what you need to do. If not through us, then by somebody. You need to make sure that you stay up to date with your CPR, because it's the thing that you rather have and not need than need it and not have it. It is updated about every 2 years, so you want to make sure that your CPR status is up to date. So that's bit.ly, I need CPR. So our topic for tonight is AEDs. So how many of you have ever heard of AEDs? So that I'll know that you're here, I can't even see who else has jumped on. So put AED in the comments for me so I'll know that you are still watching. So we are talking about AED, and I am asking, do you know what AEDs actually are? Because so many people hear that of those three letters as well as CPR, and they actually don't know what that stands for. So if you know what AED is, if you've ever heard of that, go ahead and put it in the comments, because that's what we're talking about tonight. And if you didn't already, last night we talked about CPR, the importance of CPR, and why people need to be sure that they stay educated and trained. And so Delana has put AED in the comments. So thank you, Delana. So it stands for Automated External Defibrillator. Automated External Defibrillator, AED. So that's what you're going to see when you are out and about. Have you ever seen one? Have you seen signs? Have you seen some indications? Have you seen anything that says AED? So it is an automated external defibrillator. So why is it so important? What is this thing as it relates to CPR, and why is it so important when it comes to saving a life? So most of them are portable, so you can take them with you. I actually have one that I use for training. I'm going to show you in just a minute. So they're portable, they're light, they are mounted typically on the wall, have big lettering that says AED. And so it can send a shock to the heart if the heart is in a funny rhythm, dysrhythmia we call it, or in the event that it actually stops, to get it back in rhythm. And yes, Delana, if I'm not mistaken, you are in healthcare, so you see these at work. Yes. Now, I actually go into some organizations, some healthcare organizations, and do some trainings there, and you would be surprised how many people know that they have one on site, but when I say, take me to it, let me see where it is, everybody is like, I'm not so sure. There is one person who's designated typically to check it, to make sure it has its supplies, to make sure that it is up to date and standard. But I tell people from the front to the back, they need to know where that AED is, because what if they are the only ones in the building? What if, in one place it was locked in the office and the office staff left at 5 o'clock? People were working after 5 o'clock, so nobody has any cardiac arrest or any problems with their heart or any emergencies. All emergencies must take place in that building before 5 o'clock, because after which the AED is locked up. So those are just important things that I try to point out to make sure that if the safety equipment is there, it should be available for everybody at all times during their hours of work. So I'm glad you have an AED on site. If you're watching this on video or on replay, make sure you put AED in the comments, and whether or not you actually have one at work. Actually, where I work, we just got one, probably within the past 6 months. And so it does become somewhat, in some cases, a liability for some organizations to have them on site because they do require a level of training, a level of checking, a level of making sure that they have batteries so that you don't get it and it doesn't work. And so if organizations are not willing to maintain that level of consistency and checking and making sure that it's up to date, code standard, then they may opt not to have it. Now, you might imagine that does put some people who have cardiac arrest, who have some episodes, emergencies on these sites at risk because there is no AED. And we're going to talk about in a minute why an AED may be important to have during the case of an emergency. Now, obviously, you don't have AEDs in your home. I mean, I happen to have a trainer, but I don't have a real AED at home. So can CPR be done without the AED? Sure it can. CPR can be done without the use of an AED, but what's so important is that the AED is like your assistant. So much like you can do work, you can do things around your house, there are a lot of things that you can do, but if you had an assistant, it would help you do that thing even faster, even better, okay? So that's kind of what your AED is. So it's portable, it's light, it checks the heart rhythm, it sends a shock to the heart to get it back in rhythm, all right? So this is our health topic for tonight. It's the AED and how it relates to health. You know, we're going to bring it full circle and talk about how AEDs actually relate to your life. So these can be used by non-medical personnel. So I know some people, this is just a trainer, just an example of what one may look like. So these may be used by non-medical personnel, which means you do not have to have a medical background to use this. You do not have to be in healthcare. They are in fact foolproof, and so a lot of times they have audio, so it will talk to you. So if you know where these are, and we're going to talk in a minute, tell me where some of these AEDs are in your community other than your work environment. Where have you seen them actually out in the community? Because people can use them because of their portability. So there used to be these huge objects that you see mounted to the wall, and you're like, how did I get this off? Even if I got it off, how could I carry it? But now AEDs are super small, they're super compact, and you can take them with you. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about CPR and AEDs and how they relate to each other and why you need to understand about the importance of AEDs if you actually have one available. So we recognize that some people do have them at work, some people don't have them at work, but if you don't have them at work, then what happens if somebody suffers an emergency? What do you do instead? Because you could still do CPR even though you don't have an AED. But what I explained is that the AED is your support. It's like your assistant. It's like you can get it done much faster and sometimes better if you had your assistant. So that's what you think of your AED as. You can do CPR and start that process without the use of an AED. Now, remember, if you don't understand or don't know or don't think you may not need CPR, you need to go to bit.ly/I need CPR. Look at those criteria and see if you fit them. Because if you fit those criteria, then you are going to be a person who needs to keep their CPR up to date and keep their training up to date. All right. So formal training to use an AED is not required because obviously they are in places, public places now. And so everybody has not been trained as much as it is our desire. Everybody has not been trained in CPR and AED use. So when that happens, you don't need formal training to use an AED. It's actually pretty easy to use. They are all audible and use voice prompts when you turn them on. So the first step is to actually turn it on. So once you turn this on, and I'm not going to turn this on because it's super loud and it is probably not going to restart. But once you turn it on, it will actually tell you what to do. So it will tell you what to do. It'll tell you where to apply the leads. So it is pretty foolproof. So don't be afraid if you see an AED or somebody says, hey, you, go get the AED. Don't be afraid to go run and grab the AED and bring it back to the scene. Because the first thing you do is what? Turn it on. So after you turn it on, that's when you're going to get the audible information, the audible prompts from your AED to ensure that you are accurately helping to assist the person in CPR to see if you can get that person back to some level of heart rate, back to some functioning status while EMS is on the way. So, do they work? Do these things work? Not this one. This is just a model. But do they work? Yes, they do. So there are all kinds of statistics. There are all kinds of numbers. There are all kinds of things that we see. Number one, we see that CPR, when done rapidly, when done immediately after cardiac arrest, or in the case of emergency, it does help to save a life, because those compressions are helping to make sure the blood is circulating through the body, and those breaths are helping to make sure that the lungs stay oxygenated. So CPR does help to save a life, and those precious times by which you are just standing or people are waiting after they call 911, that is the time by which people should start CPR. So everybody needs to know what to do, because after you call 911, you start to say, where am I? Is there AED available? So you go and grab this AED. So 90% of the time, this thing can detect if there's a rhythm that needs to be shocked. So again, most of the time adults are in cardiac dysrhythmias. That means their heart is doing some funny stuff. And that's what's making them actually have this emergency. So because that is the problem in most of adults, in 90% of the times, an AED can detect what that rhythm is and if it is a shockable rhythm. So if it's a shockable rhythm, then you press the shock button. You press the shock button and it delivers a shock. Now, it's not going to deliver that vaulting shock like you see demonstrated on TV, but it will deliver a shock. People do need to be clear. And so it will deliver that shock in the attempt to get the person out of the rhythm that caused them to have the cardiac arrest or the emergency. So that's what an AED is. Automated external defibrillator. That's what it is. So where do we see these? Go ahead and put in the comments. I want to see in the comments, where have you seen these? We already got one response, that is work. So where else have you seen these, or where have you read that they're going to be more available? Because they should be becoming widely available, because they have been proven to improve life, or to improve the outcomes of people who are having emergencies. So where do you see AEDs? Now, while you're putting that in the comment, make sure you know that you need to share this video out, because we don't want people to be afraid when they see AEDs in their community. We want to make sure that they know these things are essentially foolproof. All you do is turn them on. Once you turn them on, they will tell you what to do. So we need people to understand, don't be afraid of those three words when you see it, AED. We need you to get that and bring it back to the victim and start with your CPR and AED. It is National CPR and AED Awareness Week, so that's why we're talking about this. But for those of you who watch us closely, you know that we teach and train CPR all year long. It is the thing that is super, super important to us, because we, again, are all about improving quality of life and outcomes in the community. And since we know this is the single most thing that we can teach people to make sure that they use it if they need it, then we are all about it. So if you want to be a Zing ambassador, I'm still waiting to figure out where y'all see these AEDs in the community. If you want to be a Zing ambassador, that means you are understanding what our mission is, and you want to help us to push this out, then we are having a call for ambassadors. So that's at bit.ly/brandsIam. So if that interests you, we're having an interest meeting so that we can make sure we let you know how you can help us spread the word. So I see these in the malls, see these in airports. Again, I just recently got one, even though I'm in healthcare, just recently got one in my place of employment. I see them in schools, hotels, although I went to a hotel a couple of weeks ago and I went to the front desk. He probably thought I was crazy, but I asked if he had an AED, and he did not know what I was talking about. So it turns out they did not have one. And so not all hotels have them. Some have them. He did not know what I was talking about. And so there again, there is much to do in the community, because then I went on to say, what happens if there is a visitor who just is standing talking to you and all of a sudden passes out? And his response to me was, I would go over and get some cold water. Right. That is the response he said. Now the person is unconscious, but he said I would go over and get some cold water. So that is what we are trying to improve upon. We are trying to let people know it is okay to respond. It is okay to do your assessment and to start CPR. Call 911, but start CPR. Now, if you need to know where to get trained, your training has expired, you're not sure if you need it, you know you need it, but just haven't gotten around to it, contact us. We can get you trained and updated. That is what we do. You can get on our calendar to make sure that we are getting a class that suits your needs. There are all different levels, introductory level. There are levels that healthcare professionals need. There are levels that childcare professionals need. All different types of levels. So we want to make sure that you get the level that best suits you. And again, go to that download if you aren't even sure that you need it. So that is that. Now, what do you need in your life that is your support? So what is your AED in your life? So remember we said that AEDs assist you during your CPR initiatives, doing your life-saving initiatives, all right? So if that's the case, then what in your life is serving as your AED? Because you know we can't go through this life alone, right? We have to have people to support us. We have to have things that support us. We have to have outlets. We have to have things that we enjoy. So what is your AED? What is your life-saving piece of equipment? It doesn't have to be a piece of equipment, but it's something that you use to help you on your day-to-day routine, to help you in life, because we all need AEDs. Now, when I say AEDs as it relates to life, of course I'm not talking about this one. I'm talking about what tools do you use to help you as it relates to coping, to maintaining your peace. We talked about that before. What do you do to maintain your peace during the day when people are pressing you on all sides, when temptation is there to just say, look, I'm done, and move out of the way? What is it? What's your AED? What do you use to help keep you centered, to help keep you focused, that you use as just kind of your resuscitation, that you use to bring you back to your woosah? So we all have it. I just want you all to think about that. If you don't know what it is, then you probably need to be in search of it. It probably means that you are pushed to the edge more often than you know, and that people probably say to you, what is going on with you? So if you don't already, you need to make sure that you find something that is your life's AED. That is the thing you can cling to, that you can either read, that you can go to, that you can meditate on, somebody you can call. You need something to be your AED throughout the day, because the pressure of the world is on. We aren't in bubbles during the day. And so the pressures of people and things and thoughts and ideas, all kinds of things, are ever present during the day. So make sure you arm yourself with your AED to make it through the day. Now, I think I'm actually going to make my time tonight. It is record. So I had, I said that I was going to try to stay within 30 minutes because I know 10 o'clock is super late for most people. I do appreciate those of you who meet me here, and for those who tune in live, if you watch on replay. Either case, I appreciate you, because you know my underlying goal is to get this information out into the community. So if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay is what it is. And if you want to be in the share prize, so again, the share prize is for the people who share this Top 10 at 10, and each Top 10 at 10 nightly, Monday through Friday. If you press that share button, we have a drawing, and Takima Patterson won it for this week. So we want to make sure we give her a congratulations, and you can be in next week's prize winning pool. if you share the video out. So if nobody else has anything else, I am going to sound out. I do want you to know, I want you to find your AED. I want you to be on the lookout for these, the physical AEDs, when you go out to the malls, to the airport. Look for them. Ask people. If you're at a hotel, ask them, do you have an AED? Because the more we ask, the more people start to be aware. The more we let people know that we are armed with knowledge, that we are armed with the fact that we are asking questions. And the more we ask, the more these life-saving pieces of equipment will be around us and in the community where we can use them. Remember, they're 90% effective if they are used, but they have to be used. Now, if you don't have them, you can still perform CPR, but let's try to get the tools that we need when we need them. So have a good night, everybody. I will see you tomorrow for the top 10 at 10. Take care.